Get into the spirit of spirits at Tales of the Cocktail, July 20th through 25th in New Orleans, with hundreds of opportunities developed for drinks industry professionals, from bartenders to distillers, and all cocktail lovers. Tales of the Cocktail is the place for exchanging new ideas, products, and techniques featuring education, tastings, networking, and the Spirited Award celebration. It is the global spirits industry's premier cocktail conference. Get tickets at talesofthecocktail.org.
Energy goes beyond turning on the lights or keeping your favorite shows streaming. It's what spins the records you love, kickstarts your productive week, and provides opportunity to your local community. Energy is health, connection, progress. It's what makes your possibilities possible. And at Southern Company, we're committed to ensuring your energy is there when you need it most. A commitment we have the privilege to keep. Southern Company, building the future of energy.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Leslie at Nicholson, welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hanniger, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Andy Isco with us today. First class, second class, no class today. Been waiting for this one. SEC Media Days, continuing with day number 2, Georgia. Talking this morning. Boy, Kirby had a nice suit on today.
Who did?
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart usually, he's got them little frat bangs, that he's still rocking, but he's usually well dressed. But Sam Willard usually dresses our players. So.
Yeah. Our guys were dressed pretty good yesterday.
Always.
They did the Kyron Lacey tributes. Nussmeier.
Oh, in the lining.
In the lining, yeah, which I thought was nice.
That is. Sam always does this. So my Delmar opening day jacket one year, he had the horse lining.
Yeah.
It's just it's a nice touch, man. It's a subtle. It's cool.
It's a nice deal. 10 years at Georgia for Kirby now. 105 and 19.
I was looking through the dean of coaches period. Because we just don't have the Paternos, the Bowdens.
And Saban's gone now.
Well, Saban had an interrupted, but how long was he at? He wasn't the dean of coaches. Maybe in the SEC.
In the SEC. I thought that's
who's
what
the dean of coaches
about.
in the SEC now? Is it Kirby?
It is.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Let me think about this for a second.
We don't care about them. As long as they go to Music City Bowl, it's a big deal. Second most popular sport on campus.
Stoops,
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And who's under a little heat now.
Yeah. Well,
or is he?
I think he is. But I don't know that it's necessarily because of the record. I think there's people up there that still got their red ass with him for that deal with A&M. That, he was their guy before that.
Damaged a little.
Yeah. He had a deal done. He had one foot out the door, and then the whole thing fell apart.
Kentucky football, you take what you can get, Well, it's like us in the LSU basketball. Well, Wade's not going to go to the Final Four, but we're going to be choosy. No.
Well, you can do that, but last year they fell out. They were 1-7 in the league. So, if he'd have gone 4-4 in the league again.
What did LSU go in basketball last year?
3-15, I believe. Yeah, that was.
Ask Mac. He's a maniac. McManiac.
He's the one.
Max.
He's
McManiac. McManiac. Max Maniac.
17 first-round picks for Kirby and seniors.
You went to every home game, huh? Oh, wait. Jeez. Okay, go ahead.
Pretty much. I go to a lot of them, yeah. Season ticket holder.
Ample seating available.
You can move down as far as you want. You can sit by the bench, basically, if you want to.
But I'll tell you who is. The other dean, there's another guy there's two guys that are tied. And then there's the one that you hated the contract, but he's still chugging along. He's still winning his 8 games or so a year. They're playing defense and punting. You may not like it, but they win. Kirk Ferentz. He's the dean of coaches.
Of all.
Yeah. And then there's 2 close behind that are tied.
Most FBS wins of any coach, Kirk Ferentz.
Ferentz.
Brian Kelly's second. in terms of
Really?
FBS wins. If you add Grand Valley State, he's the most wins in all of coaching.
But at their place, there's two guys.
That have been
One's an alum.
Kyle Whittingham.
Very good, Charlie.
Yeah.
And the other one's an alum.
Oh,
Come on, Charlie. You don't be a boy. You're a man.
Oh yeah, Gundy. Gundy's been there. It's easy to remember since Miles left. I mean, 2005.
Remember coming out of the pandemic, he had the controversial political shirt or whatever, and he had to whatever. Oh, and we took plus money on him not getting fired.
Yeah.
Well, you go 3-9, and you want to talk about a guy that maybe stuck in his ways a little bit. Doesn't want to embrace the new landscape.
Changed his tune last week, didn't he?
And you got T. Boone is gone. The modern day T. Boone's in Lubbock now.
Yes, very much. Very much. No, he said that these are the first players we've ever bought, which is probably not exactly exactly accurate, but
above
still,
the board.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Kirby has won 100 games faster than any coach to get to 100 wins. Has not lost a home game since 2019 between the Hedges. You remember that game?
Wait.
Last game Georgia lost at home, 2019.
Oh, that was the Alabama game?
No,
wait. Hold on. 2019. That was the LSU year, but Georgia won.
Georgia
was that Kentucky?
Georgia was 10
was
and 2
it Kentucky?
years. No, but you're in the right neighborhood, though.
Missouri?
South Carolina.
I don't remember that one.
It's a double overtime game. South Carolina led it by a touchdown at the half. That was
they had like a pick six in that game?
They had a pick six in the game. Jake Fromm was the Georgia quarterback.
Fromm was really good.
Yeah, he was. It didn't have a good game that game, but and they lost it in double OT. South Carolina kicked a field goal. Georgia had missed a field goal.
Huge upset.
Yeah, it was absolutely because
Georgia finished in the top 10.
Georgia was 10-2 that year. Yeah, they were 12-2 actually.
It's one of the teams that the 2019 team beat as a top 10 team and finished as a top 10 team.
Remember, so they played LSU in the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
They were
a lot of drops.
They were 11-1 with just that double overtime loss to South Carolina at home. That's the only thing kept them.
That's it.
That's it. They ended up losing LSU. It was their second loss. Yeah, that was it.
That was a day game, as I remember.
It was a day game.
It was a day game.
Yeah.
Who was? Tennessee wasn't any good then.
No, Florida and Auburn were the two best wins that they had. They beat Notre Dame that year too.
I remember that.
That was it at home.
Fromm was a good quarterback.
He was a good quarterback.
He didn't amount to anything at the next level, but no, he was a good quarterback. I remember the Florida game was kind of tight for a while, and then he kind of took over in that one. At Auburn, though, would have been their tough one. That was probably close.
We won by touchdown. Yeah. It's 21-14. Yeah. That was so. Kirby was up this morning. He said he offered Nick Saban a job. He offered him. Max, you were asking yesterday where
I'd offer Saban a job.
Since McElroy dropped that bombshell yesterday that Nick might go back and coach again.
Started to backpedal a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think he kind of overplayed his hand there a little bit.
Claims he didn't really say all that.
Kirby had a little fun with it, though. I thought he was humorous. I like a little lighthearted moment. It's July.
Kirby's comfortable in his seat. His
so,
job security's fine.
What do you think about Nick coming back? He goes, "Well, I offered him Muschamp's job. He's a little overqualified." But and then he said something that I know you'll agree with, which was Miss Terry going to decide that. If that was ever.
Well, you know what?
Sure.
If people that know Saban know that deal. He listens to one person,
and that's good. That's fine.
That's great. Miss Terry's cool, man.
Yeah, I got no problem.
She
with
is cool. She milked Huizenga for the furniture, for a $500,000. But why not? She knew she could do it.
It's one of your favorite stories.
I love that.
No, it is.
I love that. The cost of living is higher. Well, we can do this. All right, I'll throw in $500,000 for furniture
and a Blockbuster membership.
But Kirby, when they were at LSU with that staff, with Saban and Jimbo and Kirby and Muschamp, and help me out.
Derek Dooley was the head coach of Tennessee. He was a tight ends coach that year.
Dooley, okay. I still remember that's one of my favorites, too, in the suite. Dooley couldn't get some kids up to the suite. And he's like, Dooley, figured freaking out. Get him up here, okay? Where the hell is your suite, okay? Jimmy Yott's got people rolling in and out of the suite all day. Come on, you figure it out, Dooley.
Matt Flynn told a hilarious Derek Dooley story about when he was recruiting him and he came back and he's like, I don't really like this guy, Flynn. He's got, I don't think he said something about fat ankles or something like that. And when Saban saw him play and Jimbo saw him play, he's like, Dooley, you're done evaluating quarterbacks. We're not doing it anymore.
So, but Muschamp was supposed to be the up-and-comer. He was supposed to be the rising star.
It raised so many eyebrows because he was so young, and Saban hired him to run his defense, which was Saban's baby, And so it caught a lot of people.
I even asked Saban about that at a press conference, and he kind of he poo-pooed it pretty quick. Like he's got a lot to learn kind of deal. But he was supposed to be the one that was going to get his shot, and that he was getting a lot of respect in the coaching circles, but also the and have you seen that recent video of LSU on the sideline? And somebody messes up. Lionel Turner was one of the first ones off the field, but Saban and Muschamp are going bananas.
Yeah,
and Saban would do that at that stage. He mellowed as far as his sideline demeanor.
Yeah.
No, he would still pick his spots, but he was something, on the sidelines. But Kirby he's just figured out. What brings me out to Kirby with this team though, where's Georgia's personnel? Because they peaked with those championship years. I mean, that defense was smothering. It was one of those special defenses, the LSU 03 and 11, Alabama 11, and some others, Clemson 18, some of these special defenses that were really, really strong. And they were a tick off last year. They were, and you can't expect them and to just maintain that level for so long. There's not a ton of Jordan Davises floating around,
No, they've had in the last 3 seasons 5 number 1 picks just on defense.
Yeah.
Okay, what it reminds me of the Alabama during Nick's heyday. The national championship defenses were the absolute best in the country, and they were loaded with first-round picks. And the ones in the non-national championship years were just very good. They were just like top 5 or top 8.
I guess we got to put Michigan's national championship defense in there as well.
I think everybody off that defense got drafted except for one.
Okay, I mean, they were really, really good.
Yeah, and these are first-round picks. The Jalen Walkers and the Jalen Carters and Nolan Smith and guys like that. They were all there. Muschamp was 31 when Saban made him. He had just turned 31.
Well, he's listening, in that relationship.
That's a little bit more common now that you go with guys in that kind of position at that age. But back in 2002, that was kind of a deal. I remember us talking about that, like, wow, Saban's going to put this 31-year-old guy in charge of his defense.
Well, Charlie, to my point about being so respected when he was coming out, he had the coach-in-waiting deal after Mac Brown at Texas, which is arguably one of the best jobs in the country. And then he got the Florida job, which was arguably one of the best jobs in the country, failed there, and got another SEC job. I mean, he had his chances.
No, he had every chance. And
he had his chances
to do that. Anyway, and he's taking a year off, I think.
Muschamp,
yeah.
Okay.
He's not on the staff there. Kind of lost track of where he is, actually.
Where was his last stop?
He was at Georgia. He was an analyst last year. So you could go watch one of his sons play or something.
Yeah, he was a co-DC, and he went down to analyst just so he could spend the weekends watching his son play.
Yeah.
Where?
I think at Tennessee, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a backup, I think.
Okay, but he's on Tennessee roster?
I believe that's right. Max could check me on that. But, yeah, he had he was a rising star with the jobs that he had. Anyway, Georgia was up at the podium this morning.
What do you think of Georgia?
I think an awful lot depends on Stockton.
Well,
we like him, but
he's going to be inconsistent.
He's not a mega talent, okay? He is a
good
good
recruited, but not. But I agree. I don't think he doesn't wow me with his physicals.
Right. If you think of, he's not Matthew Stafford or he's not even Carson Beck. I mean, when you talk about Georgia quarterbacks with the mega ability. He's not that. He's a very good player.
He's gutsy. I mean, he stuck his head in there and got it rocked in the SEC championship game, and the only reason he came out because they knocked him out. I mean, he was knocked silly. He's got guts more than I think that's what the team appreciates more than Beck.
Fit the attitude, yeah.
But he doesn't have the arm talent that Beck does.
No,
he doesn't. So he and he just seems like he's going to be. I mean, I don't. Who do you want to say that a guy that just kind of he's going to try and run and gut but he's not committed to the pocket. Maybe he will be when he's the regular starter and he gets so much more reps and the off-season reps. But he's got to take a big stride to be a dependable passer in this league.
And he
did nothing in the short period that we saw last year to do that. And Notre Dame wasn't a great defense, and they shut him down.
He doesn't have the mega physical skills of some of those guys we're talking about, but neither did Stetson Bennett. And Stetson Bennett had a knack for making a big play. He had more self-confidence. His self-confidence overwhelmed his ability. And he just believed.
Okay, Stetson Bennett's small. He's short.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's smaller than this guy, yeah.
I know. Tell me another quarterback in D1 that's shorter, okay? But I don't think this guy has Stetson Bennett's arm talent. And I know he was more highly recruited, and that's fine. But he's bigger, and he certainly doesn't throw the ball in rhythm like Bennett did. Bennett let it go. Bennett let it go, man.
Bennett was, 24 years old the last year?
They were down to double digits with the ball at their own 10-yard line in the fourth quarter against Ohio State.
Yeah, he
had to go the distance twice.
He did not lack for confidence.
And he laid the egg in the conference championship game against Alabama. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he laid the egg in the second half in the COVID game in Tuscaloosa. But that Alabama game, when they got behind, I mean, he drove them. When it was, when they finally got over the hump in the national championship game. So I don't see this guy. He may develop. He got a long way to go to get to that spot.
Georgia's floor is so high. I mean, they could roll out of bed and win 9 games. So we'll see.
Well, don't forget over here at Mike Anderson Seafood, it's our July specials. Yes, indeed. God bless America. Happy birthday, America month. Yes, indeed. The Kickin' Tails jalapenos and Louisiana crawfish tails, deep fried and tossed in a sweet chili sauce. That's on special all July long. Shrimp cocktail, 5 jumbo Gulf shrimp served with a house-made cocktail sauce is also. How about our entree special? 2 of them for the month of July. Tookie's Lighthouse Trout, lightly seasoned trout, dusted with flour and pan sauteed, topped with lump crab meat and toasted almonds, and a light lemon butter sauce served with your choice of side, salad, or coleslaw and garlic bread. And the stuffed filet, crab meat and shrimp dressing wrapped with thin slices of fresh fish served with your choice of side, salad, or coleslaw and garlic bread. Dessert feature for July is the berry chantilly cheesecake. How about that? You talk about delicious. And Charlie, the drinks, watermelon lemon drop martini, the frozen Miami Vice, and the Urban South Paradise Peach, which is on tap here for the month of July. That's in addition to our regular specials like we have today. Tuesday, half off oysters on the half shell every Tuesday, 5 to 9 p.m. here in the Oyster Bar.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Either one of those, you can pick up the show at any time. Major League Baseball draft in the rearview mirror. This is sort of my overview of what happened from LSU's standpoint. Cade Anderson going number 3 overall. A little disappointed he didn't go number 1. That looked like an economics deal. There was a lot of signability stuff. You saw a ton of high school kids go in the first round this year. A lot of high school shortstops went early. I think there were 12 shortstops went in the first 45 picks or something like that. At any rate, Anderson going number 3. That's great for him. Brady Abel went 32 to the Brewers. He was the first LSU signee to be drafted. in reality, there was almost no chance that Abel was ever going to get to campus. Same thing with Jordan Fauske, who went in the second round of the White Sox. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Illinois, number 44 overall. Chase Shores at 47. Good for him. Finished up the season so strong. Slot at 47 is over $2 million. Never worked out for him as a starter at LSU. We'll never know what happened if he had been able to stay on that track from his freshman year when he was pitching so well and would have got into the rotation probably his sophomore season. But Shores finished up strong, so good for him. Quentin Young, second round of the Twins, was never coming to campus. His uncles both played in the big leagues. Delmon Young, Dimitri Young. Quentin Young was going to be a pro, so no surprise there. Dean Moss was one that they thought, the outfielder from IMG, they thought they could get him to campus if things fell right. They did not. He went 67 overall to the Rays, and 67 that bonus is over right around $1.3 million. So. Disappointing because they thought they had a shot if things had fallen differently with Dean Moss. He's going to be moving on. Anthony Ianson fell in this draft. We thought he might go as early as the latter part of the first round. He got into the third round, 87 overall to the Red Sox. He'll have every opportunity there, and the bonus is probably going to get push right up around $1 million. So Ianson, winning pitcher in the national championship game, moving on. The one that stung me the most was probably Ethan Fry, because I know what LSU had on the table for him. He had a very nice NIL offer. He had the opportunity to play in the outfield, which he didn't last year, and he was going to hit at the top or the middle of this lineup. So that's all LSU can do. And I thought they had a good shot to get Ethan Fry back. Houston took him at number 95 overall. That slot value is $800,000. The word is that the Astros are going to push that up near $1 million, or maybe just a little bit over $1 million. That's just too much money to pass up, especially coming back for a senior year. He would have lost all his leverage. So disappointing, but understanding for Ethan Fry. Landon Hodge, the catcher, went in the fourth round of the White Sox. He was expected to go pro. Miguel Simi, the pitcher out of New York that hit over 100 miles an hour on the gun, went in the fourth round of the Nationals. They expected to lose him. Briggs McKenzie out of North Carolina, the left-handed pitcher, went in the fourth round of the Braves. They started day two thinking that they had a shot there. The offer was good here. They thought that his number might be a little bit high. Same thing with Moss. They thought that the number might be a little bit high and that he would get to campus. That didn't happen. The Braves take him in the fourth round. Daniel Dickinson went in the sixth round of the Brewers. Good for him. Jared Jones probably slid a little bit further than most people thought. Looked at as a top 5 or 6 rounds. Went in the ninth round to the Pirates at 263. Jacob Myers went 268 in the ninth. Cade Woods, who hardly pitched here at all in 2 years, went in the 10th round of the Braves. River Hamilton is an interesting piece because the right-handed pitcher from Oregon, originally committed to Oregon State, flipped to LSU, thought he would get his name called earlier than he did. He went in the 11th round to Detroit. That feels like a money thing to me. His talent suggests that he should have gone way above that. So maybe his number's a little bit high. LSU may have a shot there. And Connor Ware went in the 15th round to the Mets. So, the bad news is there was a couple of guys in Moss and Briggs that they thought that they could get that they didn't get. The good news really kind of came before the draft when Reagan Ricken, the big right-handed pitcher from California, withdrew from the draft, and Omar Cerna, about a week before that, withdrew from the draft. That's two guys that could have easily been drafted high enough to justify going pro, that pulled their name out and said that they will be at LSU. Jaden Newt did not get drafted. I'm very high on Newt. I thought he was coming on as the season went along. As he inched toward that 50-inning mark post-Tommy John, I thought he was getting better and better. He was a mega recruit out of California 3 years ago. I think Newt's got a chance to be a really important part of the staff next year. Chris Stanfield's in a little bit of limbo. Thought he would get drafted somewhere, didn't. The question is, if he comes back, if he doesn't sign a free agent deal, where does he play? Because Curiel seems earmarked for center field next year. Stanfield doesn't really fit as a corner infield. He doesn't hit for enough power, so I'm not really sure what the future is for him. It's going to be an interesting call by both him and LSU. And then Zach Cowan, the right-handed pitcher who was such a huge part of this national championship team, went through a little bit of a slump in May. But the first 3 months of the season, he was lights out, and boy, was he there when they needed him in the postseason. Cowan can be a starter. He can be a reliever. I think it's a big get for him to come back for the 26 team. So that's
get him back.
Yeah, that's a monster. He could be your Saturday starter. He could be your Sunday starter. He could be your closer. You can do all kinds of things with a guy with that kind of experience and that kind of ability. So. As every draft, some good, some bad, but LSU will have plenty of roster next year. And it's important to remember that there's still time left in the summer. The portal's closed as far as anybody entering it, but it doesn't mean they picked up a junior college pitcher late last night. They can still add some names to this team. So we'll see what happens there.
And how many, you get the guy's going to have a second year to try and develop off that highly recruiting class from last year.
Yeah. There's guys that
you see any or not way too early polls.
I haven't.
Okay.
I would expect that they'll be
coming out now.
Yeah,
after see the draft.
Maybe late July, after the draft and after the most of the portal stuff is done. LSU wasn't overly active in the portal this year, but there's plenty of roster coming back. They got a lot
signing
coming
class.
back. Yes,
so
yeah. So I would say good. Could have been better. Could have been worse. I'd say that about the draft every year. Probably
every year.
Yeah. So that's everybody that was kind of in play.
They'll be very good next year.
Yeah, I think so. I know that every year I ask the same thing. My first question about any LSU baseball team is always, who's the ace? Well, I know who the ace is. Okay,
Mardi Gras Mike.
No. They're going to run Case and Evans out there on Friday nights, and I feel real good about that. Yeah. So start there. If I got a Friday night guy that I believe in, like I said, go from there. If the answer to that question is I don't know who the ace is, then generally one's in a little bit of trouble.
Evans and Cowan, both back.
Both back.
That's a good start.
And Evans up at the top of that.
Good start.
Rotation.
Don't forget our friends over at Total Maintenance. It's hot. It's real hot, man. That thing breaks down. You got to call our friends at 480-1000, 480-1000. Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. My buddy Lucas Ragusa, who's been doing this for a long time, getting into those hot attics as a tech and managing and owning and just the whole bit. Had a big part in branching out to the New Orleans area. It's very successful down there and trying to expand the coverage here in Baton Rouge right now and taking care of it. What we like to say over at Total Maintenance, because AC companies are busy right now. It's their peak season, no doubt. Service today, every day. Same day service means you'll never sleep hot. You call today, you'll get service today. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem products as well. Authorized dealer for Generac and Cummins generators also. This is the time to kind of get those in order as we just around the corner is the storm season. So covering both Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas, but not compromising. We've got a completely different staff and office in both markets. It breaks down here in the Baton Rouge area, 480-1000. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Andy, how you doing, buddy?
Jimmy, I'm doing fine. It's midsummer vacation with the All-Star break, which means it's football on my mind about 18 to 20 hours a day.
Yeah, man. It's the All-Star break, so I guess you have a little WNBA right now, and people are betting that a little bit. But anyway, it always used to be some, the enthusiastic gamblers at time to hit the beach. Nothing going on. Just go take your time and just relieve some of the stress and just kind of chill and do that stuff. But now it's kind of media days, and we're right in the middle of SEC media days in Atlanta. And boy, Matt sent me a picture last night. Said, business as usual here, downtown Sumo. So, some of the restaurants are maybe quality in name, but in execution in that area of the town, not so much. But anyway, we got them started off last week in Frisco, in the palatial, setting of Frisco, Texas, the Cowboys practice facility. And the Big 12 Media Days kicked it off for college football. We're certainly in a college football market, so we are diving in head first in a lot of them. Max and I will talk about his favorite. He thinks Clemson's going to be the Iron Curtain or something. But we'll compare notes on that because they have a lot of highly thought of guys, but they have a lot of improvement to make as well. From last season. But Big 12, you got a college football win total that you're looking at out of the Big 12 conference.
I'm always been big on coaches and continuity, and occasionally they will have established themselves as either a very good or a very bad coach. Then they'll have that one outlier season, and everybody is either overly enthused because, wow, they're finally breaking through, or they're saying, it's the start of a decline. And they overreact. And I think the lines makers may have done that a little bit with Oklahoma State. Former quarterback Mike Gundy, I think it's his 21st season. They had an awful lot of expectations last year with Texas and Oklahoma leaving the conference for the SEC. They had, I think, like about 18, 19 starters returning, evenly split basically between offense and defense. They won their first 3 games, and then everything fell apart, and they didn't win again. So I think it was about maybe about a 17 or 18-year streak of making to a bowl game was ended. They did it a lot in the transfer portal during the off season. We know Mike Gundy can coach. The fact that he's there at a place for 21 years, even if it is his alma mater, says that he can coach, because you don't last that long unless you have proven success, and you make money for the institution, which means winning bowl games and getting quality players, etc., and filling the stands, and he's done that. So the season total right now is 5, and we may have touched upon it a little bit last week that they had a lot of new teams in the conference last year, the Arizona teams, the Utahs, etc. That it was a period of acclimation for everybody. I'm looking for Gundy to bounce back this year, and I think that this team is capable of at least getting 6 wins and becoming bowl eligible, and so I played them at for 5.
It snapped his 19-year winning streak at Oklahoma State in Stillwater. So 19 winning seasons in a row, not non-losing seasons, but winning seasons. Yes.
I think, if I recall, didn't they go, I think, 4 and 5 during that COVID season, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah. Without, yes, and this is his 21st year. He had a losing season his first year, and then 18 or 19 in a row. But they were 0-9 last year in the Big 12. I mean, they won their first 3 non-conference games. Somehow they figured a way to win that Arkansas game. That was a brutal game for Arkansas to lose at Stillwater.
Thanks for reminding me.
But slow to warm up, kind of a little bit Dabo Swinney light a little bit in his transfer portal, embracing the transfer portal. But this year they're overloaded. They might lead the country in amount of transfers that they have coming into their roster. Charlie, what I got to ask you is, usually on paper when, you have a disastrous season and then you clean house, whether you're forced to or not, but he basically cleaned up both coordinators and a buku assistants. That's pressure from above? Does he actually have legitimate pressure for a guy that's won so much at this program and one of their own?
What I think happened was, I think Mike Gundy hated last year's team. I mean, he gave us he left the breadcrumbs in August, right? About, hey, we got to quit talking about NIL. We got to quit talking about how much experience we got and all that stuff. We got to get focused on football. I don't think he liked last year's team at all. So I think he wanted to get rid of a lot of what was in that locker room a year ago, experienced or not. How much pressure he's getting from above, I don't know. It can get stale after a while there, but, I mean, the guy's won plenty. I think he wanted to clean that locker room out. I don't think he was forced to.
He did let us know.
Yeah, he left the breadcrumbs all through the month of August and said, look, man, I know we're experienced and we got all this, but we got to quit talking about NIL and we got to quit talking about – we got to start focusing on football. I don't think he liked that team.
Well, their offensive line did not help out Ollie Gordon, and what they tried to do with him did not help him out as well last year. But they remained intact, tackle to tackle.
Yeah, they had all.
And
was it 19 starters back out of 22 last year? And
I'm not sure about that, but I know the whole offensive line in Ollie Gordon, and it was not the same. And it looked like they weren't even leaning on him last year. So the Oklahoma State Cup 5, and they go to Oregon non-conference this year, so they're not likely to go 3-0. But Tulsa and UT Martin should be okay. And it's the thing about the Big 12. Maybe not many super teams, but they don't have a lot of really bad teams. Just really, really poor teams in that conference as well.
Once Texas and Oklahoma left, it became a very, I won't say mediocre conference, but a very balanced conference from top to bottom. I mean, you have Baylor that has the occasional good year, Texas Tech the occasional good year, Iowa State. I think another team that disappointed that I'd like this year, again, even though I think they were like 9-4 or something, Kansas State. I like Kleiman as a coach. I like Kansas. I like the job that's been done over there with Leipold coming over from Buffalo a number of years ago. It's a balanced conference. I can't say that there's one team to beat. I will likely, and I haven't done it yet, but I'll be doing it sometime this week, I will probably also make a play on Oklahoma State to win that conference this year.
Wow. Phil Steele has Oklahoma State finishing 14th in this league this year, but he has Baylor.
Where did everybody have Arizona State finishing last year?
Had them last year. They had them 16th.
That's why they're not having a conference poll. They're not even having a conference poll.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes, Charlie's saying exactly that.
Yeah.
So they came up with a lot of other reasons for staying away from it. But, yes, the media in Frisco last year picked Arizona State to finish last. And this is where I like the 5-11 or 5-7 if we're going to do it. I'm fine with one from this league getting in, the champion, because it adds so much. I mean, down the stretch, Arizona State, Colorado, Kansas State, Iowa State, I mean, all of the BYU, all of these games meant something coming down the stretch last year. And I think that's a good thing. I think you could do a lot worse than taking an automatic qualifier from a 16-team league. Your conference champion. I think you could do a lot worse than that.
Yeah, no, I think that, and again, a lot of it is about money and attracting eyeballs for ratings. And, you got 16 teams in the Big 12, and you get one team in there. That's still going to draw a lot of people either to root for or against that team. If you're a fan of that team, you're going to root for them. If you're a fan of the other 15 teams, you might root against them, but at least you'll get some interest by having at least a key member, a successful member of that conference in there. I would think that with the field expanding this year, it's hard for me to really see two teams coming out of that conference, and I may find it difficult to find two teams coming out of the ACC, assuming Clemson does what everybody expects them to do, although keep an eye on Duke. I really like a lot of what happened with that program last year, and they might make some noise. They'll have some tests early, but I do like the Duke team, which had success for many years after decades of futility.
Can I ask you guys a question about the Big 12, since we were talking about them a second ago? UCF lost 6 games as a favorite last year, which I think was tops in the power conferences. Wow. What do you think about teams that were favored that many times and obviously underachieved according to the odds makers the following year, Andy? Does it play any – I know we're turning over rosters at a bigger rate than we ever have before. Does that mean anything to you, that stat?
It's still a game-by-game situation. But I would think that often a team like that, there might be some value in going on them, say, in the month of September, because they disappointed. Well, Oklahoma State's a perfect example. I think they were 3-9 against the spread. One of the 3 wins was that opening game against the an FCS team, and then they were 0-9 in the conference. So there's obviously, they cost people a lot of money. The expectation's high this year because of what we saw last year. So I think at the start of the season, there may be value because the lines maker will be realizing what happened last year, and you may end up, the herd mentality of saying, well, we lost a lot of money, or we made a lot of money going against OSU last year. We're going to do the same thing this year as far as that goes. And once we start seeing September unfold, and Oregon might not do much to show that OSU is all that improved this year, because it's going to be tough to win up in Eugene. But I would think OSU and a team like Central Florida might be a team to look to play on, because you might be getting maybe perhaps as much as an extra field goal in some of those games based upon what happened last year. But once you're 2-3 games into the season, this year starts counting a lot more.
Their win total 5.5, by the way. UCF talking about.
I liked them last year. Did his quarterback back again? The kid from Auburn?
Oh,
I mean, Ole Miss.
I got to look that up.
I know. I thought he was a Plumlee. John Reese Plumlee. He's got to be gone. Huh?
Yeah.
You really? Diego Vanderbilt's back.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm laughing at the fact that these guys play for 15 years in college now.
I was a little higher on them.
By the way,
he's gone.
Yeah.
For UCF, I think it's also a very positive thing with Scott Frost coming back. He's sort of, second guessed. Maybe he shouldn't have left us when he did back a number of years ago to move up in stature. And I think that he was so good for that program and didn't have the success at Nebraska that was expected of him.
No clue.
But I think that re-energizes the program.
No clue what to predict how they were going to perform week in and week out last year. They were really all over the place. Really were.
And again, it was a new conference for so many teams in the Big 12 last year, and not everybody is going to adjust successfully. Some will, some won't. Arizona State did. UCF didn't. BYU did. Okay? And everything is different. We learn, and one thing we do learn is that the teams that struggled poorly a year ago are probably going to be underrated early, and the teams that excelled, unless they excel every year, may be overrated a bit coming into the season.
Their projected start as a backup at Indiana last year, Taven Jackson. Remember he started that one game that the guy was hurt.
All right, Andy. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. We'll continue to look at some of your college football futures throughout the summer.
I'll be concentrating on the SEC in time for next week's show.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Andy. Great stuff as always.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive, the only place I take my vehicle, 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. to 4:30, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. I'll get it straight. Ethan's Jeep, the lights won't go off when he's driving during the day. Had to bring it in, go schedule a time, come back and look at it. So whatever it is, engine light comes on, you don't know. We're not trained mechanics. We don't know what is happening. Bring it in to see Jason. That horror story of getting upcharged for unnecessary work, it's not going to happen over at K&M Automotive. That's why he has so much repeat business. Go by and check him out. It's the only place I take my vehicle on Seagan near Perkins, right across Seagan from Ambrosia Bakery, K&M Automotive.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They'll lose one program superstar on staff and replace him with another one. LSU Gymnastics. The departure of Ashley Natt, who had coached for 5 seasons with LSU, replaced by the newest assistant coach for Jay Clark, Haley Bryant.
Haley staying? I thought that was kind of rumored, huh?
Yeah. We felt like this was had a good chance to happen. It happened officially a little while ago. You can make a very good argument that Haley Bryant is the most accomplished athlete in LSU history. For what she did,
because you can get so many more national championships in gymnastics, you kind of quantify it a little bit. Yeah. But she's up there.
33 times as an All-American, 2-time NCAA champion, And she was, I think this is kind of like winning the Heisman Trophy in the national championship. She won the all-around title in 24, and the team won the national championship. You're the best on
That's
on,
the Burrow.
on the best. 18 perfect tens in her
and then
career.
like a guy like Bob Pettit did so much after LSU, and all the NBA teams, Shaq as well.
Haley Bryant back on staff at LSU. Hour number 2 straight ahead at Mike Anderson's.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class. I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
Here at Mike Anderson's, Wesley and Nicholson, first class, second class, no class. All right, I gotta start with first class with some golf. Women's golf, okay? Evian Championship from France last week. That's a major on the LPGA Tour. Grace Kim. You ever heard of Grace Kim, Max? You're the golf guy.
Max has.
Not very well.
Really?
No, I knew of her. Don't know her game.
24-year-old from Australia. Okay, had won some tournaments, but had not won a major. Double bogeys 12 on Sunday, and is 4 shots off the lead. Going to the last couple of holes, she comes home eagle, birdie, eagle in the playoff to win the championship. And as remarkable as that sounds, the birdie came after she put a tee shot in the water. So you put your tee shot in the water on a playoff hole, that's it, right? You're done. She chipped in to make birdie and extend this.
I think it was her second shot that went in the water.
It was the second shot in the water. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I might have messed that up. Eagle, birdie, eagle. Her highest finish in a major before this was 13th. So this is kind of a career breakthrough. But watching the highlights of this, eagle, in the water, come back, make a birdie, eagle to win a major.
7 under in her last 6 holes. I was watching the end of this. I couldn't believe just how great she played. And she was going up against a big name in women's golf, Gino Titicun.
3 majors, right?
She has not won a major, but she's 22 and she's a phenom. She's just waiting. She's been on the doorstep.
I misread that then.
Has not won a major yet. That's kind of the storyline there. She's like a much, much younger version of Tommy Fleetwood, and that she keeps putting herself in the mix and hasn't won, at least in a major to this point. But I was curious to see if she'd break the door down and finally win. But Grace Kim was outstanding. It was really good golf there in France.
You watch golf every week, right? And you come down. How many times you say, well, they got a hole out here to have a chance, or hole out here to chip it in to keep it going. How many times do they actually do that?
7 under through 6.
Yeah, almost never. So
down the stretch
give her credit. Second class, good with a chance to be great. Well, this guy's been great already. He's got a chance to be historic. The big dumper, Cal Raleigh, won the home run derby last night. I can't tell you I watched a whole lot of this. I watched a little bit of it in passing. This is not all-star stuff, just not my thing. But I did think it was cool that his dad was pitching to him, and I had forgotten that he was the head coach at Tennessee. Prior to this, and his brother was catching, so I thought that was really cool. What I'm more curious about is, can Raleigh keep this up in the second half? And ordinarily, I'm not big, well, they're on pace to do this, they're on pace to do that. We're 96 games in. If you're still on pace, I'm at least going to give you a little bit of lip service. The last 2 years, Raleigh has hit 30 and 34 home runs for the season. He's got 38 at the break. Can he get to 60? The first thing I ask Jimmy is Raleigh going to wear down? Okay, he has caught 94 of Seattle's 96 games, so he's out there almost every night. And the last 2 years, he's caught 145 and 153 games. For a catcher, this guy don't miss time. He was also a Gold Glove last year in the American League, so he's not just back there because he can hit. He can also field it pretty good.
Well, I would assume that if they put him back there, that's a lot.
That's a ton.
Yeah, you usually give your catchers considerably more time off than that.
So he's projected to play 159 games for this season, which is not all that far off from what he did last year, and he's projected to hit 64 home runs. Can he hit 26 home runs in the second half? Well, did he wear down last year? Last year he hit 38 home runs. He hit 24 before the break and 14 after. So if you hit 40, it's right just under 40% of your home runs. If he hits 40% of the home runs he hit in the first half last year, he's going to go over 60, which for a catcher is absolutely unheard of. I know we're going to look at later at the MVP odds, and Judge is still a favorite. Well, their power numbers are very similar. Judge has got him by about 100 points in batting average. The runs scored, the home runs, the RBIs, they're all right there next to each other. And if they finish with similar numbers for the year to what they got now, Judge is going to win. But is there anything more valuable than a catcher that hits like this and plays Gold Glove defense? I mean, his defensive numbers are a little bit off.
Mike Piazza was pretty big.
He was
pretty big deal, and he was not that great
behind the plate. No. They moved him later in his career.
You got to think he's 28 right now. This was a little bit of did indicate a little bit, 27, 30, and 34 home runs the last few years. To get to 40 is not super, super unheard of, but 38 at the break is way ahead of pace. He's not likely to maintain this pace, but he's going to give 60 a run, and he's they're in. They don't have a whole lot of games where they can take off, but the old Craig Biggio thing has to come into mind. At what point, man, we gotta preserve this guy's bat long term, and do you do that for even a Gold Glove catcher? Because if he keeps this pace up that many games, his career will be cut short. Yeah. Those knees are going to give out, man. I mean,
not only the long term, but Jimmy, the short term. Do you rest this guy? They are the third. They're the third wild card team right now. Okay, so they're a playoff contender, and you want this. You need this guy's bat in September. I mean, they're dog days.
Some of these guys who participate in this home run contest have a little bit of a
messes with them a little bit.
Because it is a different swing. It does, and where opposed a lot of guys are just taking the 4 days off, and so I don't. No, you better lighten the load a little bit, and he might be one of those guys who throw back, and that's why he's so highly thought of, not just by all of baseball fans now, but certainly the clubhouse. I mean, he's going out there every day. He can't, but you gotta give him a break. You got to space it out and give him a little load management, just a little, at a spot where you really need it. Yes,
and he hit from both sides in the Derby last night.
I will
cool. Say a little mini no class though to the first round tiebreaker. I don't know if you saw this, Charlie.
I did.
It goes to 10 decimal points to determine what the longest home run was.
It was by 0.6 of an inch.
It was by less than a tenth of a foot.
Okay,
is the longest home run tiebreaker over Brent Rooker, which nobody really knew the rules until it was announced, kind of at the end that he had advanced over Brent Rooker. How do you not have a hit off, just a little tiebreaker that would be fun rather than 470.61714524141 feet? How do you know that? Come on.
Stat Tracker's that accurate?
There's no way.
I mean, I'm with you there, and like I said, honestly, I don't really care who wins the slam dunk contest or the home run contest. It's just it's window dress, and it's fine. It's good for the fans, but I don't particularly watch a whole lot of this stuff. But Raleigh's season is fascinating to me because you get a catcher that approaches 60 home runs, and for the record, I think he's probably going to come up a little bit short. I think what Jimmy's saying is they're going to manage him a little bit, give him a few more days off in August and September. And if I were the Mariners, I'd do the same thing. If I'm in playoff contention, but I do think he hits 50.
I think the biggest story out of the All-Star game is when you put a guy with 25 innings as an All-Star. That's just that.
Oh, from Milwaukee.
Yeah. I mean, he's 5 starts, 25 innings.
Yeah.
No. And, and I know it's more of an open door than it used to be, but it's one of those things, how many All-Star games did he make when we start stacking up their career? Mm-hmm. How many All-Star games did he make? Skeens had 66 innings. I mean, that's more. I think one of the big things, though, Skeens starting his second All-Star game, pretty damn good start. It's not everything. It's half of the season. We've seen some stiffs start in all-star games, whether it's Rick Russell, Atlee Hammaker, or others. That
Jack Armstrong's the one that gets me in 1990 for Cincinnati.
But there's been some really good ones to start the All-Star game as well. And so Skeens to have two of them, that's pretty damn good.
Piazza, the best hitting catcher ever.
Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench. I mean, make an argument. Piazza's top home run season in his career. He did it twice.
I think the other thing
was 40.
Was the best. Who's the best switch power hitter since Cal Raleigh? Eddie Murray is certainly a guy. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's got
switch hitter, Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones.
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go. Murray, Jones, and Mantle are considered probably the best three switch hitters of all time. Big Dumper's fun to watch, man. And I like the moment after the thing.
And with
his family.
And listen, we were talking about Seattle. They got the rotation. They can't score any runs. I mean, they would rival Pittsburgh in the previous couple of years. He has. You want to talk about being valuable to your team? He's huge for them.
Yeah. No class. I've been saving this one for a couple of weeks because I've been on vacation. Hugh Freeze and John Cohen were talking a little bit this summer. John Cohen is the athletic director at Auburn. Hugh Freeze, of course, is the head coach. And I'm sure they got some of these quotes off the golf course because apparently that's where Freeze spends most of his time these days. They don't believe that the other schools are operating by the same rules as Auburn in regards to NIL. This is Hugh Freeze saying this. You want to talk about the wrong messenger. This is the same Hugh Freeze that thinks that, hey, man, everybody else is not playing by the rules. This is the same Hugh Freeze that was charged at Ole Miss with recruiting violations, impermissible benefits for players, car loans and cash back when all of that was illegal. At least one recruit was suspected of getting help on a college entrance exam. And Ole Miss started calling reporters, telling them that all of these things had happened under Houston Dale Nutt. So what happened? They reopened the investigation. Laramie Tunsil did his famous draft night deal. In between smoking, he was talking about how Ole Miss had paid all of his bills. Ole Miss withdrew from the bowl consideration. Then the NCAA sent him a notice of allegations, not monitoring his assistants, lack of institutional, not properly controlling the program. The allegations came out to 21, 4 under Nutt, 17 under Freeze, but who's counting? They continued to recruit during this investigation. Ole Miss players, including Shea Patterson, who was a quarterback, said Ole Miss officials lied to them about the severity of the pending charges, and Nutt sued Ole Miss for defamation, contending that Freeze and school officials conspired to smear him about false claims of the charges. Ole Miss settled that lawsuit in less than 3 months and issued a public apology to Nutt because of what Freeze had said. But, that wasn't the best part. The best part was the discovery of the lawsuit because they filed, Nutt's attorneys did, for the Freedom of Information request for calls. Freeze made a university-issued cell phone thinking that they would find impermissible calls to recruits. What they found was impermissible call to hookers, a concerning pattern of calls after he arrived in Oxford. Freeze said it was a misdial, except that the records indicate that it was 12 calls to this escort service over 33 months. You ever dial the wrong number 12 times?
Absolutely. Happens all the time.
The chancellor and the athletic director gave Freeze an ultimatum: resign or be fired. He left there. The NCAA put Ole Miss on a pretty significant probation back when the NCAA used to do that. Ole Miss vacated 33 wins. 27 of Freeze's were stripped from the books. I'm not going to tell you everybody's playing by the same set of rules with NIL. It's a pretty complicated thing. State laws are superseding some of these guidelines where there are guidelines. It's a big mess. I don't want to hear about it from Hugh Freeze, okay? You want to talk about the wrong man. I don't want to hear anything about rules violations from Hugh Freeze. I don't want to hear anything about ethics from Hugh Freeze. I mean, the guy who's got scripture on one part of his phone where he updates his Twitter feed or his Facebook page and has calls to escort services on the call log of his phone. I don't want to hear from that guy. I don't want to hear from that guy. First of all, I don't want to be lectured to in the first place about spirituality, okay? Please, stop. But I really don't want to hear about rules violations from a guy whose resume is littered with this stuff. And not just garden variety recruiting violations. I mean, Lord, those go on from here to the end of the earth. But they caught you calling the prostitutes, man. I'm sorry. You got to be quiet about this. So I don't want to hear about, and I really don't want to hear, not that Cohen was involved in this, but I got also not my favorite person, and we've gone through that before too. Hugh Freeze, no class.
Anisimova. Only thing worse than her performance on the biggest stage in tennis, center court in the Wimbledon final, when breakfast in Wimbledon was moved back 2 hours to accommodate a larger American audience, was my handicap on it. Charlie, but it's crazy. How many, the number one player in the world, then it's not even close, is Sabalenka, and she beat her. Not only did she beat her in a really good match, beat her at her game, out-hit her, but this is now, she has a 6-3 record against the best player in women's tennis. So surely she would go over and take care of it. The problem was, one, center court fade, center court rush fade. Okay. I mean, did the British storm the center court that I didn't see and carry her off? Did I miss that?
For those that don't pay attention to tennis, explain what you're talking about, what happened on Saturday.
She got beat 6-0, 6-0,
Thank
6-love, and it was I mean, it was as if the stage got to her. She could not do anything. She had a history of depression, took some time off, and things like that. Why you tied in? Because it seemed like she was having some nerves, some mental barriers here. To get off to a bad start was not a super surprise. To stay in that funk with so much ability that she has was completely it's just so disappointing. And she's disappointed. She's crying and switch over. Deep into the match. The match is over at this point.
Yeah.
It wasn't like early. But, no, I've seen him getting tears in the trophy presentation after it's over. But, man, it's such a feel-good story, and then it to happen like this. But one thing, too, and the part of the 6-3 is that she's not intimidated by Sabalenka, and maybe I didn't factor in just the matchup. Mm-hmm. You know, styles make fights kind of deal, and she's just more equipped because she's beat her and she could bang with Sabalenka, that maybe she's just a bad matchup for Sabalenka. And that's
okay.
And I said, I hope that's not just it. You know, but damn, plus $2, $2.20, something like that. But an absolute no-show. An absolute was the worst. Because we've seen some sort of wild cards get there. This girl's a kind of a she's more of a comeback story than an underdog story. She's got ability. She was highly thought of at a young age.
A double bagel in the final.
And it was. Did she have a game point? I think she had one game point. I remember one.
I didn't watch.
I remember one. I watched the whole thing.
I seem to remember Steffi Graf at the height of her powers beat somebody 6-0, 6-0 in the final, but it was somebody who wasn't supposed to be there.
Exactly.
It was like, and that's the only two in the final of a major double bagel.
At Wimbledon, I think this is the first one ever.
I saw something since 1913 or something like that.
That was the Wimbledon one, I think.
Graf double bagel somebody to French.
I think it was a French.
It was a French.
I think it was a French, and I remember that one too. And Graf. She won some women's finals 1-1.
Yeah.
She won a few of them.
She was dominant in that period.
Martina and Graf and Sellas, they won some finals in like 45 minutes.
In that period from where Martina kind of aged out and after Sellas Graf just blew the field away for about 5 years, couldn't be touched.
Holger Mayo can't spell Wimbledon, but I got him on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Max said, I didn't know they could grow strawberries in England. Okay, well, I mean, it's kind of a staple, but
freshly delivered every morning.
But did you get on her too?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, I got half a Baton Rouge on her. Boy,
I'm glad I was out of town.
My phone was blowing up. My phone. I mean, I took a whole crew down with me, Charlie.
You take more. You've taken more grief over tennis picks because when we went to the boat without you that weekend.
Freddie Sabalenka?
Yeah, they were waiting on your ass.
Yeah.
Like, where's Sabalenka's
Roll Tide Freddie. Yeah. I gave Sabalenka. But that was like minus 280. This is at least plus 220. And then the other thing, and I understand it's kind of a little bit of a soft time in sports, but damn it, if you don't give a crap about your regular season, NBA, do not try and tell me this is the Pistons and Celtics playing right. Season doesn't even make. This summer league stuff is AJK, bro. Put it in the big dumper.
Roughly
God,
half of the players in the summer league are playing without a contract. Yes. I read that over the weekend. It's they get expenses basically to go and play and try to turn ahead.
It's unbelievable.
First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, SupremeRice.com. Down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s. Get you some Supreme Rice, the jasmine, the parboiled rice, the long grain, the medium grain, the brown. Staple over at the Outhouse, especially on Monday nights. We're coming, obviously, football season on the horizon here for your jambalayas during tailgating, early parts of the season, your red beans, your white beans. Make it with Supreme Rice. You're going to save a little bit of money. You're going to support our Louisiana farmers. Part of the Climate Smart program, reducing methane emissions and promoting water conservation. See the Climate Smart package labeling on the packaging for Supreme Rice. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're brought to you by the Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway down in Thibodaux. Their sister property, the Pierre Part Store, for over 113 years down in Pierre Part. Look, if you're looking to grill, this is exactly where you should be doing your shopping because all the top grills. You can shop online at ThibodauxStore.com. All of the top brands of your grills, your Big Green Egg cookers, your Shop Pit Bosses, your Shop Charbroils, all of them available at the ThibodauxStore.com. Also, right now, DeWalt chainsaws are on special. The Greenworks brushless pruner saws. If you're working out in your yard, you got your patio all squared away. You're looking to add some furniture. Nice specials right now on Outdoor Expressions patio furniture to add to your patio area. All your gardener starting kits, your potting saws, your cedars and spreaders, all of them available right now at ThibodauxStore.com. Heading down to the coast, going fishing. Lots of fishing gear. Custom crawfish pots, custom jambalaya pots, all of it there at the Thibodaux Store. Open daily till 5:30. And again, online it's ThibodauxStore.com. Jimmy, I didn't get a chance to listen to all of every show while I was gone, but driving down, I did hear a good bit of a couple of shows while I was gone. It seems like Max has been peppering you about Clemson an awful lot. This is going to go on all August, right? He's just going to tell us how good Clemson is, right?
Max, in Clemson's got one of the top defensive tackles in the country. Going to be a high pick, returning. Got one of the top defensive ends returning. Going to be a high pick. So, Max, besides that, or including that, why you think this is such a historically good, defensive line unit?
So I would start off with Peter Woods, their defensive tackle, who is thought of as a top 10 potential pick in the NFL draft next year. He didn't play a whole lot last year. He was injured. He got injured on a chop block early in the season, so that took him out for about a month and a half. Came back, had another head injury, so he only had 3 sacks, but it was in very select amount of time. He was banged up a lot last year, so you have to take some of his stats, and kind of incorporate that in. But they just return a lot of guys. They didn't return a whole lot of starters last year, and you liked what you saw out of them overall last year. There are other defensive end. You mentioned T.J. Parker. He's viewed as a top 5, top 10 potential edge rusher in next year's class. And then I mentioned the front 7, specifically the defensive line, but they've got A.J. Terrell's younger brother, Avion, who's considered a prospect as well. It's their entire defense, really. Yes, yeah, he's a corner, but their entire secondary is pretty good. Their entire defense is very good. I think it's the best defense that LSU will play this season. And they improved to me as the season went on last year against some decent offenses. Yeah, SMU was able to move the ball against them in the SEC title game, but ultimately I just think this is the best defensive unit that LSU will play this season, including in SEC play.
And it also said there was comparisons made to that defensive line that they had that was so good back in 2017, 2018. 2018.
All those guys were drafted up at the
Dexter
top.
Lawrence, first rounder.
Yeah.
Christian Wilkins, first rounder. Cleveland Farrell, first rounder. Austin Bryant was a later round pick, but all four of them were drafted. The Clemson Tigers gave up, was it 4.7 yards per rush last year? That's their worst yards per rush defense in 25 years.
Really?
At the school, yes.
That predates Dabo by a pretty good bit.
Yeah,
about
25 years. So they were 42nd, giving up 23 points a game. They were 69 in total defense, giving up 374 yards a game. And so they got a lot of improvement to make, is what I'm saying, man. So by comparison, the 2018 team, if we were trying to put in the same category, number one in the country, total defense, number one in scoring defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even close. And the year before, the 2017 year, this is why we going into the year, and you remember that defensive front for Clemson is going to be really good. Well, they're number two in both scoring defense and total defense.
They won the national championship the year before that, right? In 16. Then they won it in 16 and 18. I got my years right. I think it was 16 and 18. I think I got my years right. Anyway, yes, all of those were.
So they have a lot of, that does. I'm glad you brought that up because one of their key guys missed some time last year.
So that was
that was part of it. But damn it, I mean, you got to show me more than this to start putting this group in the same category. No, it's not. They're not in the same category as that group. Don't tell me it's like that group. So they got to do it, and they got to do it at a very high level to even come close to being in this group. They can be very average and still get to the playoff. They could be very average and win this league. And this is where Sankey, to me, and if Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, and Sankey have the Reds the most, because SMU, they get in. Their best win is at Louisville. Their second best win is at home against Pitt. No, you don't get in for that. When you play in the ACC, who was the best team in the ACC? Well, the champion was Clemson, right?
Yeah.
They didn't play them. Miami was second best. They didn't play them. Okay, Notre Dame,
regular season.
Notre Dame doesn't. Notre Dame doesn't play. They play 6 games. Didn't play them, and so then when you play Clemson, you lose on a neutral field. So I could see why. I mean, what the hell? Who did they beat? So this is that has to be Sankey's biggest source of being pissed off. But man, I want to pump the brake. Hey man, show me a little bit with Clemson with all of this hype and all of this ballyhoo. Man, bro, we got a long way to go before you throw it in the same breath as that special group that they had, which was clearly that put them over the top. All the SEC champions in this era, the last 20 years, they had great defensive lines. Clemson, Florida State were built like them. To say this defensive line is in that same category, that's just not accurate.
They returned 8 starters in 2019. They returned 9 this year. Worth mentioning, they add Will Helt, the other edge rusher.
2018 was their best year.
Correct. 2018, they returned 8 starters going into that season.
Yeah, of a team that was number 2 in scoring defense and number 2 in total defense. This team was 42 and 69.
I will say they added Will Helt from Purdue, edge rusher as well, pretty highly thought of. So they actually hit the portal a little bit for a change. Dabo did. They also bring in a new defensive coordinator. I think we all respect Tom Allen, the job he did at Penn State last year. So they've got a new defensive play caller. I like this Clemson defense. I understand that maybe their stats statistically for the season didn't look great last year, But you talk to the Todd McShays, you talk to the NFL guys, and they're just glowing about this team.
How good was NC State's defense that year? They had Mario Williams and the Nick Chubb.
Gosh, that was.
How good were they?
All the way back to 2005 now, I think.
Okay, well.
Yeah. I remember them being pretty good.
You do?
I'm blanking. I mean,
I remember the draft going, damn, I don't remember NC State's defense being that good. That's what I remember.
Chubb and Williams were in the same draft?
Yeah.
Were they? Okay. I had forgotten that. I was just so excited that the Saints were getting Reggie Bush.
Right. But you can't be worst in 25 years and say this is something to build upon. I mean, I've gotta see something. And look, I think it's one of the more intriguing units to watch. And we're going to see, LSU plays them in a tough spot because week one, defense is ahead of the offenses, right? Okay.
Yes, they should be.
But, I mean, maybe this is the best roster in the transfer portal era because Dabo Swinney was so, right? Maybe so, that they have a chance and they got an experienced quarterback. But it's on paper and paper only right now.
I think Clemson's talented. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. And that it's going to be a hard place to play, and LSU's had problems in openers. But if we're going to evaluate Clemson, what did they do last year? What did they really do last year? You're going to tell me they made the playoffs. Okay, that's fine. Who did they beat? They beat NC State. Was NC State good? They were not. They had a losing record. They beat throw out the rental wins. The power conference teams they played. They played Stanford. They beat them. Was Stanford good? No, they were 3-9. They beat Florida State, who was 2-10. They beat Wake Forest, who was 4-8. They beat Virginia, who was 5-7. They beat Virginia Tech, who was 6-7. They beat Pitt, who was 7-6. This is the one power conference team that they beat in the regular season, 24-20. And it was all they could do.
No, Klubnik had a 50-yard touchdown run with about 4 minutes, 4 minutes to go, something like that.
Now, they beat SMU in the ACC championship game by 3. SMU went to the playoffs and got thumped.
60-yarder at the gun.
Yeah. Now, who did they play that was good? Played Georgia. They lost by 31.
0-3 in the SEC.
They lost by 31. They played South Carolina. They lost by 3. They played Texas in the playoff. They lost by 28. And then they lost to Louisville by 12.
Max, you watched those games closely. You thought their defense was that good against Texas and SMU?
They gave up 31 to SMU.
38 to
SMU
Texas.
was a tough game for them. Jennings kind of torched them a little bit in that game. I thought Texas, they looked better in that game. I didn't think they were terrible. They gave up 30 points. 38 points, but
I mean, the guy with the running back ran by him like they weren't even there.
When they played anybody,
they
with
went
a
up
heartbeat,
and down the field. How many yards did they give up? They gave up a lot of yards. I remember in the Texas game. Klubnik was the one that kept them in it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to be a game that LSU should win for sure. It's a close game. But when they played anybody with a heartbeat last year, they got it handed to them.
6.1 yards per carry in that playoff game against Texas. That was not good.
That's not good, man.
Look.
I think it's a good. Are these guys likely to be drafted in the first round? Those two guys? Yes. Right?
No. Yes. I'll answer for him.
Yeah. So is this maybe? Do they have a shot to be good? Yes, but to be a dependable, a certain unit, and I guess what in college sports is, but this is a different feel from going out of 17 with that Clemson defensive front, and going into 18 and coming into this year. And they have a chance, and I want to watch them, but. Because they got some stars and they're bringing in some help, and this might be the best they've been up front at Clemson in the transfer portal era. But man, let's not. I mean, don't even try to throw them back with that group. That group. Remember the Notre Dame playoff game? Notre Dame couldn't get a first down.
Right. Yeah. They completely.
I mean, they were just because T-Law was trying to get. I don't know. They weren't doing much on offense either.
All that being said, I think Clemson's going to be a really tough game for LSU. But
that's a tough place to win.
It's a tough place to win.
And
first game. Yeah.
They've lost some. But they the games they lose at home, they usually have some bad breaks. Would you say the Florida State game 2 years ago, they had some bad breaks?
Yeah.
They missed a short field goal. They had the defensive touchdown.
Right.
Do you think the South Carolina game they lost at home this year, they had some bad breaks?
17-14. Didn't they turn the ball over at the 1 yard line?
Lenore Sellers had like some scramble and stuff like that. So 2 years ago, they lost at home to Spencer Rattler. Rattler beat him. He was inconsistent, but they beat him.
He had 2 touchdown passes.
You do need a little break. I will say that it takes a. They usually don't go down routinely at home.
No, it won't.
And this is supposed to be one of their better teams since
19.
Really? Did I go back?
I think so.
Would you say? Was that the last
being talked about? I would say
2019. Would they do?
Lost in the finals
to
LSU.
To LSU. Oh my, jeez.
You at the game?
Yes.
Somebody got Delmar on their mind, man.
Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Does your homeowners association require wood windows that either face the street or overall, you name it, facing the golf course, whatever it is? You need to call my friends over at Relief Windows because, when you're dealing with sort of construction, whether it's new construction or existing and remodeling and things like that, the one thing that the builder wants things that are going to last. The architect wants things that are going to look good. We want things that are going to look good, they're functional, and they last, and that's what you get with the R-Last wood windows, gelled windows that come with a 20-year general warranty and lifetime limited warranty against rotten termites, providing you years of good-looking windows and minimal maintenance. That's what you get when you call Relief Windows. 288-8138. Yes, it's not Delmar weather over here in South Louisiana. From the heat right now to the Cajun blizzard that we had this past winter. 288-8138 and ReliefWindows.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heard from Georgia and Auburn today so far, and now Texas has entered the building. Jimmy, I'm sure you're very anxious to end the show today and go home and listen to what Arch Manning had to say. Come on, tee that up for you.
I mean, they got a loaded gun. They got a loaded deck. Do they have the best roster in the SEC? It appears so. That's what a lot of people think. I think so too.
I think that from everywhere.
Outside quarterback.
Yeah, outside of quarterback for sure. And it may very well, look, I'm not telling you Arch Manning can't have the best. He could be the all-SEC quarterback. It's not like that would be a huge upset or anything.
Does it help the learning curve when you're surrounded by such good talent? How many Alabama quarterbacks won a lot of games and could do okay when they had a loaded deck?
So what are you saying? He should have gone somewhere else?
No, I said this when Roscoe was around. We were trying to speculate where he would go. And Mincy was like, hey, Ole Miss. Cooper's got investments in Oxford. Mincy, not happening. Okay, Cooper's always tried to load the deck, whether it's recruit the top rated receiver at the Manning Passing Academy. To come to Newman, to whatever, or to get Bordelon's kid to come live in New Orleans. I mean, he's always tried to load the deck. You got to give him credit because he saw that Texas, he committed 11 months after Texas was admitted to the SEC. That was a jolt of excitement to their booster base to donate. And in the NIL, it passed and was about to go into fruition when he committed. So give him credit for having a little vision that Texas would be a major player in this new landscape of football. And also, when you get a recruit of that magnitude, doesn't it help you draw other pieces.
It should, yes,
We
absolutely.
see that.
Where did you think he was? Do you remember at that time where you
I
thought he was
Georgia or Alabama, because they were the best rosters. They had the most resources going, and there was no reason that they should really stop.
And I thought he was going to Oklahoma, because when Oklahoma entered the league, and Lincoln Riley at the time, remember, he had Baker Mayfield had been the number one pick, Kyler Murray, he'd come off these Heisman guys.
I see that, but team-wise, they just couldn't compete when they got outside their league. They could not even compete.
They couldn't, okay, but I thought that's where he was. The quarterback lineage at that time under Lincoln, this is before Riley took the USC job.
I think
that's where I thought he was going.
I think he wants to win. And it was a little bit of a hedge, but you got to give him credit for Cooper doing his homework about kind of steering him in that direction. They say it's the kid's decision. One thing you knew, he wasn't going to Ole Miss and hoping that Lane Kiffin could get the collective up and that wasn't going to happen.
And Oklahoma wasn't completely uncompetitive. They were against LSU, but not against Georgia. The Baker Mayfield game at the Rose Bowl. That was a classic.
That was one of the greatest games of the playoff era.
They were not that far removed from being right there at the time. But I missed it, and turned out they did right because Riley ended up leaving.
Who has more of an upper hand? Who has more resources going for them in this new landscape than Texas? Nobody.
No. A&M was close, but no.
Oh, come on.
Closest.
We've watched. I know. I can't say that. We've watched these jokers stumble over themselves for how long?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, show me. When we go talk about Clemson's defensive front, show me A&M. You got to win something.
I know who's got the better athletic director. That's Burnt Orange for sure.
Yeah, no. But and that's part of their their mismanagement at College Station.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of it just they're trying to spend, but they got some. I think Georgia's roster may take a little bit of a step back this year,
and a step back for them.
I thought they were very fortunate to win that conference championship game. I thought Texas was the better roster, and Texas is going to be better this year.
Yeah, the injury, the quarterback injury, kind of muddies it a little bit. But yeah,
why? Because they won it with the backup.
I know they did, and that's why I'm saying that Georgia might have been a lot better than Texas if the starter plays the whole way. So I'm not as sure about that. But it's.
Well, Beck had a poor game in Austin. They still beat the crap out of him, and I see that. But the second time around, I thought Texas left a lot of points on the board, in the game in Atlanta. So I couldn't. Georgia couldn't stay on the field with Notre Dame, really. I mean, they definitely couldn't stay on the field with Ohio State this year, huh?
Not Ohio
Texas
State.
did.
Yeah.
Texas was 2 yards away, huh?
I thought Georgia hung around in that game against
did,
Notre Dame, but they weren't impressive.
Digits,
they weren't impressive, no, for sure.
Oh, don't forget our friends over here at Workbox and Workbox Services, my buddy Martin Padial, and expanding. That's right, their newest location at Workbox. And the second office, which extends our coverage all the way down to the Gulf Coast, through New Orleans and Baton Rouge, all the way to Lake Charles. Of course, shipping containers of all sizes, you name it, for residential or commercial use as well. 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, 8x40 feet, you name it. You want a tool storage container for your job site? No problem. Custom lunchroom? No problem. Customize it, part office, part storage, dual purpose? No problem. Custom safety storage near the plant? No problem. Our great staff, Martine Sr., Martine Jr., Hannah, Brandy, and Chris. Workbox and Workbox Services, 343-4886 and WorkboxLLC.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Love August, ESPN front page. First article, can Brian Kelly and LSU win it all? 2 columns down. Could Brian Kelly be on the hot seat at LSU? Could be an interesting August.
One thing he didn't shy away from. I think Brian Kelly has been really, really good with the media since he's been here. But anyway, he's not shying away from how good their roster is.
See you guys tomorrow.